Greetings! It is time to make the noise to summon the stream. That's a little loud. That's better. Greetings, dear viewers. I'm Quill Quickcard, and welcome back to the Community RPG Maker Project. I'm Quill Quickcard. If you are new to this series, I have been building a game in RPG Maker MZ for more than a year, and trying to integrate as many suggestions and ideas from chatters, commentators as possible. And, well, it is a bit of a weird project, but I have done my best to integrate as many ideas as possible as organically into the increasingly convoluted setting as I can. And, yeah, last week had a minor crash out over the issue of mimics being repeatedly suggested. But it's okay, because in the end, it inspired a whole new tier of crafting. And yes, in fact, I did end up deciding all of the things that are now crafted using the Mimic Teeth and also the Beast Hide Level 2, which are the two materials that are added in this section of the game. I have 3 left that need to be added. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. Indeed, first thing we're going to do is finish adding all the new crafting logic. And then we are going to test all of the new crafting combos, both the singular new as well as the multi-crafting options as well. So that is going to take a few minutes to get through. But once that is done... Hold on, let me make a switch there. You're still on that shiny Ralts hunt, huh? Yeah. Eventually I'm going to have to shiny hunt the elemental monkeys and everything. A new type chart in the tour guide. Nope, didn't hear about it. Anyway, once we are done with crafting all of the new combos, we are going to move on to the materials that we were going to work on last week before I got sidetracked. It's something that was entirely my own issue. We are going to be working on NPCs and events at the Pepsi headquarters. We are going to be finishing the last monsters. I think there's only one left that still needs to have its design finished, the Cavelin. Build the encounter troops for the mountain, swamp, and cave. We are going to work on some new character skill stuff. In particular, Katasby needs his Swarm Call ability designed, which produces 3 random effects, all with random targets. So out of these 4 options, it will do 3 of them at random every time you use it. Stinging insects that might damage and poison enemies, a circling swarm that creates a defensive barrier, chirping insects that can feel damage and might lock the enemies, and soothing insects to heal. An elemental bolt for Thatcher to replace her low-tier elemental spells. Liquor Shot from Malter, that's what he's going to get after we do the Pepsi Headquarters Pepsi Portation Void. And working on the Rainstorm ability for Thatcher, which damages slime and fire enemies every turn, and also empowers storm magic. We've got some event work to do there. And we're also going to redesign Bottle Cap Toss so that instead of just a permanently fixed amount, it's instead actually going to have like a damage value that can actually be like defended against within the actual damage formula. And the last thing, I don't know how much we're going to get to today, since I do plan on only streaming for 2 hours, maybe 2.5 tops. But we also need to begin and design work on the Catfolk Village, and we're going to be using the same roof transparent method that we were using previously in the Batfolk Village. So these are our objectives for today in order. This is probably going to extend into next week as well. So first things first, let's finish adding all of the new crafting logic. I hope you will excuse me. I also need to be like eating a little bit here, because I am hungry. First things first, we're going to take another label here. And copy that. And put that here. But since this is going to be a label break, we also want to make sure that we include our comments for a label break here. There we go. So this is going to be for the Beast Hide 2, which is going to be label 8. So swap that around to label 8. Crafting ID 2. So we're going to start with ID 91. So crafting ID 91. And it is the hunting suit. Where is the hunting suit indicator? Yes. Hunting suit. Craft. Hunting suit. The material you are checking with for this one is going to be the Beast Hide level 2. And then we remove Beast Hide level 2. We add a hunting suit. Discovered the recipe for making hunting suits. We turn on the switch for having been able to make hunting suits. And then if you are multi-crafting, Beast Hide level 2. Crafting hunting suits. And you crafted X hunting suit. Hand sanitizer has been added to the project, so that is another thing that is in. There we go. Mark that. And now I need one of the non-double crafting lines here. There we go. Okay, so if the other ID is 95... it is the Champion's Belt Craft. Champion's Belt. Not bottle cap or... Our primary for this one is Beast Hide level 2. And then, is that bottle cap or 2? No, it should be bottle cap or 1. Just like that. And change our items. This should be Beast Hide 2. This should be bottle cap or 1. Bacteria and viral enemies will end up being a whole class of stuff. You don't need to worry about that. The Champion's Belt, yes, and we're going to copy that. Discovered the recipe for making Champion's Belts, and it turns on the switch for Champion's Belts. And then for multi-crafting, Beast Hide 2, bottle cap or 1, increase the armor by the number of Champion's Belts. You crafted blank champions. You crafted 1 Champion's Belt, you crafted 3 Champion's Belt. No, that does need the parentheses S for the plural. So that is the Champion's Belt. And the last one is going to be Bottle Cap or 2, ID 96. And it's going to be Master Cap Armor. There we go. Okay. One more. Not gonna lie, with the Champion's Belt, I could see Malter doing a suplex. I'm trying to get to a point where the amount of damage that can actually put, I'm basically trying to get to a point where crafting gives you the strongest stuff in the game by far. And where, if you really want to progress, you're going to have to start doing the crafting. So, a lot of this later stuff is actually like a significant escalation in offensive or defensive ability. Which I think is a good thing. I mean, I've put so much damn effort into this crafting system. It seems only right that people should engage with it. Discover the recipe for making Master Cap Armor. And Master Cap Armor. Bottle Cap or 2. And Master Cap Armor. You crafted blank number of Master Cap Armor. Without secret bosses, yeah, I understand that. Okay. There we go. Master Cap, Master Cap. Perfect. Okay. So now, Beast Hide 2 and Mimic Tooth, we are actually going to change these and then mark them off as we start doing all of this. So when we do our crafting, it's going to add like a maximum number of the various things. So what is the debug code for crafting? Okay, 236 is the debug code for crafting. Add a mimic. There it is. Okay. Okay, we have added a mimic. Now, on to the crafting. So what we doing? Right now we're actually going to do a lot of crafting testing, which means we're going to activate code number 236. Okay, so our various crafting items are all set to 99. So how many will we actually use if we craft one of every recipe? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so by the time we're done crafting all of this, at least the initials, we should be down by 2 in all of these, and then we should be down by, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we should be down by 9 in each of these. So if all of the amounts work, all of these should go down to 97, and then Mimic Tooth and Beasthide 2 should both go down... No, they should go down by 10. So I think they should go down to 89? Alright, we got a lot of testing to do. I am going to eat some of this food here while I do these. And let's just hope it all works. So, Mimic Tooth and Bubbling Water. Pepsi Monster. Mimic Tooth and Flavor Packet. Fanged Shields. Okay, Mimic Tooth and Candied Crystals. Makes hand sanitizer. Mimic Tooth and Necrid Hearts. Makes Shaman Knives. Mimic Tooth and Mimic Tooth. Should not be making Pepsi Monster. Okay. So, Mimic Tooth and Mimic Tooth. This one we need to check real quick. First thing we're doing is checking the messaging. Mimic Tooth and Beasthide is lightweight leathers. No. Okay, Mimic Tooth and Beasthide. That one's having issue. That's not good. Mimic Tooth and Beasthide 2. Okay, that makes Sprint Shoes, like it's supposed to. Lightweight Cap Mail, that is also incorrect. It could be a message issue, or it could be an actual logic issue. We're not actually sure yet. Okay. And lastly, Mimic Tooth with Bottle Cap Ore 2. Let's see. Tactical Gear, I don't think that is right either. Okay. Let's check our numbers. Each of those... Okay, yeah, multiple ones of these were using too much bubbling water. All the ones that didn't work were because of bubbling water. Okay. So what is going on in the crafting logic? What is the problem? Well, one of the problems might be that I did not update the crafting logic to actually call the proper things. Hello, noob. So if the first ID is 84, it should be calling label 7. And if the ID is 91, it should be calling label 8. So that might be all it takes to fix that. Alright, back to the debugging. Code 236. Alright. Have zero idea what's going on, to be honest. I'm testing the crafting system. Everything in these two columns are new crafting recipes. I'm testing them. So, Mimic plus Mimic. Mimic Tooth plus Mimic Tooth. That should make Mimic Claws. Okay, we did successfully create Mimic Claws. And we also need to compare those with Beast Hide and both of the bottle cap ores. Beast Hide 2. Okay. That one works. And now bottle cap ore, which says that we are making gold teeth, which is correct. And then the Mimic Tooth with the bottle cap ore 2. That also said recipe for gold teeth. But it only gave me one. I'm assuming that that actually did correctly create a targeting lens. Okay, it did create a targeting lens. We've also got a hunting mask, which is correct. We've got a gold tooth, which is correct. The numbers were all working appropriately like they should. We should also have a Mimic Claws. And let's see. We do have the Mimic Claws. We should also craft paper, which is Mimic Tooth plus Beast Hide 1 Okay, that makes paper. And it does add paper. Okay. So we have an issue with the message for the targeting lens. Targeting lens. Targeting lens is going to be under label 84. I will answer you in just a second there, Annie. I do see. I'm just really focused on finding this right now. That is label 6. Okay. Label 7, that's Mimic Claws. Hunting Masks. Gold Teeth. Targeting Lens. Craft Targeting Lens. This is where that one was screwed up. So, Targeting Lens. Discovered the recipe for making targeting lenses. Okay. So I think that works. Anyway, you were asking the Hammer of Getting Up. Revives a fallen ally with 1 HP and can only be used in the menu screen and not in battle. Okay. So I think that's all been successfully troubleshot. If I do have issues with the crafting, it is genuinely just a lot easier to catch them early. Okay. So, Mimic Tooth, Bubbling Water. Yes, that makes Pepsi Monster. And then if we want to make more of that, Craft Pepsi Monster, we're going to make 1. Okay. Yes, that is the correct amount of Pepsi Monster, the correct amount of teeth. That is 1 recipe confirmed. Flavor packet plus the Mimic Tooth. Fanged Shields. And flavor packet plus Mimic Tooth, Fanged Shields, create 1. Does the hammer work the way I am thinking? If you're thinking that you hit people with it, yeah, probably. Okay, it did successfully create. I'm only going to do this thorough testing on the Mimic Tooth recipes right now, simply because it does take a while and I don't want to spend like more than a half hour working on this. Cole, this is how we create your hand sanitizer. The candied crystals and the Mimic Tooth. Okay, make 1 of those. So that gives us 2 hand sanitizer. And still using up the correct amount of material. So the next one is a Necrid Heart with a Mimic Tooth. The crafting system is so intricate that it has to be very, very carefully tested. Hello, Nix. Welcome to the stream. Okay, testing. Subsequent creations, Necrid Heart, Mimic Tooth, Craft Shaman Knife, Craft 1. Is Fun Dip an option for Mimic Tooth mixed with Flavor Packet? No. Every combination of 2 crafting items only has one thing it creates. We have 2 Shaman Knives. The crafting amounts are correct. So this time we're going for Mimic Tooth with Mimic Tooth. Very good. Mimic Claws. I missed a few streams, but is the rain inside intended? No, we're actually just doing debug debug. We are debugging the crafting system. So as a result, the debug code just transported me here and didn't actually adjust the weather. So this is not intended, but it's also not something that a player would see. And craft 1, Mimic Claws. Good. Okay, so we were at 2 Mimic Claws, and we should have gone down 4 Mimic Teeth, which we did. Perfect. So now, Mimic Tooth with Beast Hide. I made the last stream a great one, didn't I? You definitely did something. Alright, we have made paper. So now Mimic Tooth with Beast Hide 1 again to craft paper, craft 1. I know all the crafting stuff works because, well, it's just basic numbers. That does give me 2 paper, which simple paper defeats rocks. And number is good, number is good. Okay, we are almost done. We have 3 other things to try it with. So, Beast Hide 2. With hunting masks. And now we try it again, now that we have unlocked that. Beast Hide 2, hunting mask, craft 1. Okay. So we now have 2 hunting masks, and the numbers have gone down appropriately again. So now Beast Hide plus Bottle Cap or 1. Which makes the gold teeth. And Mimic Tooth, which Bottle Cap or 1, gold tooth, craft 1. Okay, good. So we are at 2 gold teeth, which grants a powerful protective barrier around the whole party to help them evade attacks. And once again, the numbers are all looking good. So last one, Bottle Cap or 2. First we do the initial creation. And then we do it again for subsequent crafting. To craft targeting lenses. So we should have 2 targeting lenses, which we do. That is good. And okay, here we go. Bottle Cap or 1 is 1 lower than it should be. Bottle Cap or is 1 higher than it should be. So all of those work. The only issue with those sections of the crafting logic are down in the targeting lens. Targeting lens. Targeting lens in the multi-crafting is using bottle cap ore level 1 when it should be using bottle cap ore level 2. That was the only issue. And everything in this area crafted with the Mimic Tooth is now 100% confirmed functional. I can test the Beasthide level 2 stuff on my own time just as thoroughly. But yeah, we actually have all of this. A treasure chest that when we find it, but it turns alive, okay? And there's another one. So I have made a solution to the problem of people frequently asking for the same things over and over. I found a solution. Allow me to demonstrate my solution to this problem. This is where we dispose the extras of anything that contributors asked for too much of. It's quite humane, I assure you. There we go. I made an incinerator, so we can make sure that we get rid of all that extra stuff. Also, definitely moves too quickly. Yeah, that all definitely moves too quickly. We just want to make sure that these are easy to copy-paste, because I have a feeling that we're going to be adding a lot of things to the incinerator. Also, why... Oh. Okay. That's why the fire didn't look right. Just make a quick fix there in the incinerator. By the way, I have an idea, but it's for later. Please, go ahead and share. There was also a suggestion for a human, but not. Okay. That's actually fine. Because I needed to make a placeholder for one of these. That isn't stuck doing the, like, mimic movement. Boop, boop. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so this is just going to be fixed. So we need a thing that is a person, but not. Okay. This is a person, but not. And actually, we do need your custom routing. So we're going to take that custom routing. We're going to copy it into here. But it's going to start with a move right. Okay, it actually needs to have an initial state without movement. That should solve it. At least make it so we can fight them. No. I find it weird how Annie didn't make Asgore joke for almost running out of deers. Cool, can there be a side quest because of a bat folk that was unfairly thrown out of the Pepsi headquarters? If I remember, in this act, there'd be a big bag introduction that if a part of a win of it, there's an unwinnable fight against it. We can do that. Add a chest. Okay. You want another mimic, so we're going to go ahead and add another mimic. Dumb headcanon, the obvious mimics are feral versions. Add a chest possessed by a ghost. Okay, so that is another mimic. There we go. All right. We have successfully adhered to all of your requests for mimics for today. So that should all work in the incinerator now. But I do want to make sure... Who said I was done? I did. You are done. I was talking about a skinwalker, genius. Yes, and the skinwalker has taken the form of the mimic. I hope that clears it up. That's right. Down, down. Okay. So instead of 2 downs at the end, what it should do is have a through on and then a jump plus 2. So it should be here and then jump to... yes. Okay, so we will copy this instead of the final down 2 on each of these. Just like that. And we'll also turn the throughs off so that we have to actually wait and watch all these things burn. Okay. Turn off the through. Do that. We are now spending a lot of our time today making sure that we can get rid of all the suggestions for mimics or other things as effectively as possible. And turn off the through. Oh, repeat movements. That's the problem. Okay. That's why they were making the sounds again. As long as we can get this right, I can just copy-paste it infinitely. So that is why I am bothering to make sure that I get this all right the first time. That's fine. And that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We also want it to be able to reset. So whenever you leave this building, it will turn off the incinerator active switch. This day can't be over soon enough. Well, who's sneaking in these mimics in places where they shouldn't be? You know, it's hard to tell. No, noob. I will not add another one today. You're cut off. You used up your goodwill for today. You no longer get to contribute any more mimics today. Alright, let's check it out. Oh, that is so good. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's great. Okay. This is where we dispose the extras of anything. That is fantastic. Okay, and it does properly reset. That's actually beautiful. That is actually perfect. That is exactly what I was hoping to achieve. That is really, really good. But I would be happier using these. Yes, okay. So we can make a bit of a change here, just to make it look better. There we go. And then we extend these up so that they provide a little bit of extra protection so that people don't actually fall into the incinerator. Thing I'd say the fire sound is a bit loud. Yeah. That definitely needs to be yes, okay. So it's fire 1. Cool. So I like the idea that when you use the switch, first it makes a sound effect like it's charging up. What would work for that? Okay. And then after that sound effect, it's going to wait a good... let's say... yeah, I think 90 frames is fine. And then it turns on the background sound, fire 1, 10%. Cool, remember the sequence idea I told you yesterday? Not immediately offhand, but it is early and I am distracted. Noob, from this point forward, I'm just going to actively ignore anything you say for the rest of today that relates to mimics, directly or indirectly. That's fantastic. Okay, I love that. And then it does successfully reset. Cool. Okay. One last thing I want to add under this is to add a 2-second wait before they start to move. Just like that. And like that. And like that. Okay, so it buys me an extra 2 seconds. So once the file starts, we wait a few frames, and then we have like a machine noise as it turns on. Coles, they brought back fissures, TM. Mimics are actually envoys of the red ones, and Pepsi can't have that. You know the building in a building, searching in a building while hiding from an unkillable monster? Yes, now I recall. Some kind of a machine. That kind of works. Okay. Alright, I think we have the incinerator completely finished now. We've spent about 10-15 minutes on this so far. Okay. Okay. The darkness, we need less of a weight. The fire is fine. Less of a weight here. Is there just a machine sound? Yes. Okay. I think that'll work better. Okay. Okay, I think that's perfect. Okay, so the incinerator has been added to the project. And who wants to be this NPC? Who wants to be this NPC that hangs out in the incinerator and explains why we are incinerating people? Who wants to be this guy? We're going to name it. Don't be shy. We got that done. I think Nancy claimed it, but let's wait for her intro. Okay. Because this one... I think it's Nancy. Okay. So this is going to be Nancy Aubrey. I guess. Didn't really think about it when I said the idea, but how are you making an unkillable monster? Very easily. You take any monster, you apply this state to them, and they cannot die. It's that simple. Okay, so now that that is done... we can actually work on the scene here. I need to eat this and review what the hell we were working on here. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, so this was the last part of it. They see the Coke bottle. The executives recognize it, though Malter doesn't. We're like, what the hell? Don't you remember your history classes? I remember sleeping through most of it. I only passed the remedial course with the 65%. God damn it, Malter. Okay. Seems easy enough. I'm still not sure what the actual impetus is for sending the player to the cat folk, but we'll figure it out. As you all know, Pepsi headquarters is built over a terrifying rift leading to other dimensions. Over a terrifying, unstable rift leading to other dimensions. Okay. And we'll have our characters respond like, why would I know that? So the player's going to be surprised. Thatcher's going to be like, I had no idea. And Elena will say, why would I have known that? And then Halter can chime in. It says so on the label of every bottle of Pepsi. And Elena will be like, what? And then Elena sort of checks. And say like, huh, it really does. Be like, anyway, through that rift are found many other worlds. You gotta make a version of the cutscene if you have no Pepsi items. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna bother. Well, it wouldn't be that hard. Yeah, I guess I can. It'll be like 10 minutes of work. I can make it happen. Anyway, through the rift are found many other worlds, all of them connected by the great astral by the great astral liquid. Sure, the great astral liquid. In our world, the great astral liquid forms the basis of Pepsi. But in other worlds, it can take on other forms. Some of those forms are very dangerous. And Halter will say, primordial soda, that works. Not to mention they taste terrible, connected by the great primordial soda. The primordial soda is the ether that connects all worlds and sometimes leaks into them. In our world, the primordial soda forms the basis of Pepsi, but in other worlds it can take on some other forms. Some of those forms are very dangerous, not to mention they taste terrible. And this Coke is a particularly problematic form of alien soda. It makes, I don't know, it does crazy shit. We'll just go with that. It does crazy shit. Like empowering ancient evils stuff. There. Okay. So we need to do a version. Why would I have known that? It says that on every bottle of Pepsi. What? So then we need a conditional branch. Not a loop. We need a conditional. So a conditional if item bottle of Pepsi. If party has bottle of Pepsi, then do this. Otherwise, we check if the party has a bottle of Pepsi Monster. Otherwise, we check if the party... You know what? Screw it. We'll just go one deep. We don't need to literally check this for every type of soda version that would be possible. But if they don't, then Malter... Where is Malter standing in this scene? Malter standing here. Malter turns right. Okay. Malter turns right. Elena turns left. Malter says, here, check it out. I got an extra bottle. And then we do that. It also gives you the bottle of Pepsi. And then Malter and Elena both turn up. Okay. So now if you have no bottles of Pepsi, you'll get a little bonus and a bottle of Pepsi. Birds out your insides while you blast out at both ends. Anyway, through that rift are found many other worlds, all of them connected by the great primordial soda. The primordial soda is the ether that connects all worlds and sometimes leaks into them. In our world, the primordial soda forms the basis of Pepsi, but in other worlds it can take on other forms. Some of those forms are very dangerous, not to mention they taste terrible. This Coke is a particularly problematic form of alien soda. It does crazy shit, like empowering ancient evils and stuff. Okay. So typically when bottles of Coke are found leaking into our world, it means something terrible is influencing the primordial soda. Okay. This is so stupid, and I'm so happy. Okay. We'll just steal a Malter here. Jolter is going to check this out. Malter, we need you to get to the bottom of this and save our shareholders from the tragic fate of low quarterly profits. And then Malter's going to be like, what? Why me? And Halter will reply, you've got more adventuring and you gotta imagine people saying this with a straight face. Exactly. You've got more adventuring and combat experience than the next best 20 PepsiCo employees combined. You are the best for the job. Okay. And it looks like you made friends with a dragon. So that will probably help. Okay. So then he's going to say, well, can't quite argue with that. And then Halter will chime in and say, start by heading up to the 3rd floor and reconnecting our section of the Pepsi portation grid. Perhaps it will provide some useful information. Okay. And he will say, I'm on it, boss man. Okay. And then at that point, we are going to fade out. Meeting active. So we need a meeting over switch, which we copy on to everybody. Okay. This one's already going to be disabled. That one's going to be fine. Oh yeah, we were going to have someone... We were going to have someone run in during the meeting. Anyway, the player character is going to be here. So this guy's going to be here when the meeting over switches on. This guy is going to be invisible when the meeting over switch is gone. This guy's only going to need one version. Anyway, we will fade out, change player followers on, gather followers, turn on the meeting over switch, and then fade back in. Okay, I think that'll work. We can worry about the guy who runs in and disrupts the meeting later. Okay, another basic drone. Okay. This equipment is very delicate. No entry is permitted without authorization from administration. Sure. And then we'll copy that. When the meeting is over, there's just not going to be anyone there. Okay, he's just going to be gone. So meeting over, below character, same, that's fine. So we're going to change you into the engineer. Okay. All right. I don't know why they're bothering to give the Mega Dimension Megas. I don't know why they're bothering to give the ZA Legends or Megas new abilities on the tier. Like, okay, just give them all no ability. Or just give them all pressure or something. Give them all something that's not going to do anything. As of right now, we don't know any of their abilities. There's no point in having like a ZA tier on Smogon where some Pokemon have abilities and some don't. Like, just have it be its own separate tier of combat. It's the ZA tier and no one has abilities. Because that's what it is right now. All they're doing is just making their own fake mon. That's it. Yeah, so that one Raichu has an ability. So give that one Raichu an ability. And then don't give any of the others. Give any Pokemon that objectively has a gameplay ability that's obvious an ability, and just leave the rest blank. That's what the Legends tier is right now. That's just the way it works. We don't need to bother making it up. Just because it sucks and it's unfair and it's a problem for people doesn't mean that that's not the way it is right now. Yeah, it's literally fan fiction tier. And there's nothing wrong with a fan fiction tier. You can do that if you're interested, but no one should be in a position where they have any strong opinion on it, because it is just a fan fiction tier. Alright, let's see how this works. Bossman. Actually, I think I need to finish eating first. We need something in the Pepsi Void. What if something attacks you? All custom abilities from ZAOU were deleted. Good. Okay, what if we're attacked by something? No, it can't just be a primordial soda slime. What we need something that's going to drive the player to head to the catfolk, or at least to seek out their shamans. Something that's going to lead you to try and deal with them. What are we going to do? We could just go with Ghost Cat. We could just go with, like, primordial soda cats, I suppose. Oh. I mean, we've already established the feral felines. Hold on, hold on. Surely there's something I can do with the felines. Okay. Um, so I've been using alliteration on all of them. So what about the uh it basically has to end with feline, cat boy, cat girl. Um how can I do this? Let me think. Okay. Okay. I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of this, but I think I have the name that I want to go with. Um, uh, Primal. Primal Pussycat. I was thinking just Pussy, but Pussycat actually immediately makes this less weird. But something else with P. Primal Pussycat. Some kind of an adjective. Panicked. Primal Pussy is the kind of shit only someone like me could say. True, primal is one adjective. Having another one. Primal pissed. Pissed works. Pissed works good. Um. What else? What else? What else? What else? Um. Hmm. Um. Primal Pussycat. Pissed Primal Pussycat might be the best. Pounding. Um. Pounding Primal Purple. Uh, Pep. Pepsi-less Primal Pussycat. Yes. Honestly, with that, we don't even really need Primal. Or we could go with a hyphen, a Pepsi blank Pussycat. Pepsi pounding, Pepsi parading, Pepsi pirating, Pepsi, Pepsi praying, Pepsi, 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 I don't think Pepsi pissing works too good. Pepsi, let's see. What are some verbs? Play, prod, poke, prose, poem, Pepsi. I feel like there's something perfect and my brain just isn't connecting to it. Pepsi. All right, let's figure this out. Antonyms or synonyms for hate. Let's find some synonyms for hate. Pain. Pain's a pretty good one. Pepsi pained. Pepsi pained is pretty good. Reject. Pepsi passing. Might not work as good in the context. Push. Pounce, push, pitch. None of those really hit what I'm thinking of. I think Pepsi pain works. The Pepsi pained pussycat. Remove the bird weakness from it. Where was our last attackers? Yeah, double attack and purr. Okay, there we go. Cool. And okay. And this is the Pepsi Pain Pussy. So you grab this magical orb, and then when you're about to leave, when you are about to leave, This thing appears, and it runs real fast. And okay. So he fixes this, but then we get attacked. So we go with our monster sounds. Okay, I think that works. Okay, and at that point, we set the location of Event 21 to here. And we start having Event 21 move toward the player, skip if can't move. Run. Okay. So it charges in, and then there is a battle with the Pepsi Pain Pussycat. Okay. And once that is done, the Pepsi disappears. Okay. Be like, what was that? And we'll be like, one of the cat folk, I think, but it seemed different. And then Malter will say, let's just get out of here for now. Okay, so we leave. And we go to the Pepsi HQ, down. Pepsi player moved right. Okay. Then we fade in. Then engineer guy is going to say, all right, we had HIJK, so this is going to be Kalterkite. You look a little roughed up. What happened? And Malter will say, there was some feral cat folk in there. It attacked us. Yes, we are going to add in Shelter Shite soon. That is still happening. It attacked us. Cat folk. In the Pepsi portation grid? I wonder if they are somehow the cause, are somehow related to all of this trouble. And Malter will say, I got no idea. Coulter will say, if you don't have any other leads, you should head north through the caves to where the cat folk live. Maybe they know something? And then Coulter will also say, here, take this with you. It's a special type of ammunition I made using some of the more interesting forms of the primordial soda. Malter Wright can now prepare and use Liquor Shot. Liquor Shot... I don't know what Liquor Shot does. Liquor shots make enemies drunk, decreasing their stats, decreasing their speed, defense, and chance to evade attacks. Okay. And then we will add item number 305, which is going to be the Liquor Shot. Okay, so all that happens if you have the Pepsi Land orb switch on. So Pepsi Land orb on. You're going to face this way. And you are Coulter Kite. Maybe the cat folk know something. You can get to their half of the jungle by passing through the cave northwest of here. Okay. And then this guy's going to be like, hey, Malter, here to fix the grid. And again, this is Coulter Kite. Will we ever see Alter-ite? I don't know. The vowel ones are honestly hard to work with. Accuracy and evasion. Ooh, accuracy and evasion works better, I think. I think you're absolutely right about that. Well, no, because we have already got, like, Sunlight Shot. I think we've already got Sunlight Shot that can blind. This one is specifically not going to, like, damage. So, I guess Accuracy does work, I guess. Okay. All right, so that actually finishes up all of that stuff. For next stream, add a part during the meeting where you are interrupted by Pepsi Drone. Okay, that works. Meanwhile, on this floor, this is where we are going to find Shelter Shite. Why do I always get stuck doing the crap work around here? Okay, Shelter Shite has now been added. Oh. Alright. Let's see. Skill idea for Katasby out of the bag. Oh, that's a good idea. Can you describe it a little more? Why do I always get stuck doing the crap work around here? Probably your name, Shelter Shite. Okay. Third floor would work like Shell Smash. We already have a Berserk on Katasby, though. Mostly for the drugs. Equipment is very delicate. No entry is permitted without authorization from administration. Okay. Second floor. Boss man. Malter, thank goodness you're here. Things have been crazy. They sure have. Got some important things to discuss. Please, come in. Doesn't hurt to have multiple ways to get Berserk. But it's also not really necessary. We didn't accept to see you soon. Should be expect. Have you finished repairing the Pepsi portation grid? Not entirely, but things are coming along. I actually have other business to discuss. More important than the Pepsi portation grid failure? We've got over 5,000 units waiting to be shipped. It could be. Do either of you recognize this? What on earth is that? That's no Pepsi product I've ever seen. I've come across two of these things. One was on the dragon that was causing the blizzards around the tundra. The other was from some kind of ancient horror that dwelt underneath Valakia. I can feel a vile aura from it even at a distance. What are these things? The label says Coca-Cola. My God. It can't be. What does that mean? Are you serious? Don't you remember your history classes? I remember sleeping through most of it. I only passed the remedial course with a 65%. God damn it, Malter. As you all know, Pepsi headquarters is built over a terrifying, unstable rift leading to other dimensions. I had no idea. Why would I have known that? It says so on the label of every bottle of Pepsi. What? Huh, it really does. Anyway, through that rift are found many other worlds, all of them connected by the great primordial soda. The primordial soda is the ether that connects all worlds and sometimes leaks into them. In our world, the primordial soda forms the basis of Pepsi. But in other worlds, it can take on other forms. Some of those forms are very dangerous. Not to mention, they taste terrible. This Coke is a particularly problematic form of alien soda. It does crazy shit, like empowering ancient evils and stuff. Typically, when bottles of Coke are found leaking into our world, it means something terrible is influencing the primordial soda. Malter, we need you to get to the bottom of this and save our shareholders from the tragic fate of low quarterly profits. What? Why me? We've got more adventuring and combat experience than the next best 20 PepsiCo employees combined. You are the best for the job. And it looks like you've made friends with a dragon, so that will probably help. Well, can't quite argue with that. Start by heading up to the 3rd floor and reconnecting our section of the Pepsi portation grid. Perhaps it will provide some useful information. I'm on it, boss man. Is there a Sprite Kingdom? Not in this world. But in other worlds, definitely. Okay, 3rd floor. Mm-hmm. Cool. And Malter here to fix the grid. Do the Malter drones have a self-kill switch if they try to rebel against the company? Probably not. Okay. So, some changes we want to make. We want to move the door switches closer to the doors, just so they are a little bit more obvious, because my eye is frequently missing them at just a casual glance. This needs to go into the Pepsi Land void facing down. We need to compare that with another Pepsi Land entry. Yes, okay. Grab all of that. Nope. Actually, let's cancel. There we go. So we open this up. A little more slowly. We have a different sound. That is way too loud. The secret Shaltershite boss fight could happen. I'm not terribly interested in that. But we do this. If yes, then it plays all of that. But first it opens the door, then the player moves in, Then we teleport to the Pepsi Land, Pepsi Void. Alright, ADHD, attention deficit, hold up is Data Frog. And the return... The return seems to work okay. Next thing we need to do is adjust the movement. We need to remove one of the lefts from each of the door switch activations. Hey, I have an RPG Maker question. Sure, go right ahead. I'm happy to answer just about any question within my ability or knowledge. Okay, let's go on to test this. Nope, not that one. We're using our secondary backup where we're already in the offices. Why are there only 2 commercial games that are creature collectors? I mean, are you talking about just RPG Maker games, or are you asking why there's only Pal World and Pokemon? Because there's way more than just Pal World and Pokemon. Made with RPG Maker. I'm afraid I don't know. I actually really don't play a lot of RPG Maker games. I'm really not, tuned into the scene. Alright, let's see how this looks. Okay, that looks pretty good. I do not at all remember how to navigate this. Oh. Apparently like that. Okay. How do I get back? There we go. Okay, that guy should not be running through walls. But we have the Pepsi Pained Pussycat. Double Claw. Not bad. Ice Storm. Cool. She took the most direct route, but I also clearly had through toggled on. It shouldn't have been possible for her to move there. What was that? One other cat hook, I think, but it seemed different. Let's just get out of here for now. Okay. Alright, that should do it. This part of the Pepsi portation grid should be working again. Cool dragon character. Thank you. Look a little roughed up. What happened? There was some feral catfolk in there. It attacked us. Catfolk in the Pepsi portation grid? I wonder if they are somehow related to all of this trouble. I got no idea. If you don't have any other leads, you should head north through the caves to where the catfolk live. Maybe they know something. Here, take this with you. It's a special type of ammunition. I made using some of the more interesting forms of the primordial soda, which is the liquor shot, which is not actually introduced yet. This does not have a condition for when it is fixed. So if you have the Pepsi Land orb, then it should just take you to the Pepsi portation realm here. Okay. Let's give it a little bit longer to actually appreciate the graphic of the door. Inside the Pepsi Void, you don't need to have the through command on. Once we interact, we need the cat to turn invisible before the rest happens. So that should solve that problem. I think it is still a little too close. So let's add a few extra move toward players. There we go. Just to make sure it always works every time. And then in the meeting, we didn't expect to see you so soon. Yes, Cole, I'm sure you wish that Magnezone was in Legend ZA. And in every other Pokemon game ever made. And in Digimon. And in the Olympics. And probably as a free meal, or free toy included in every Happy Meal. I know how much you love your Magnezones. Admittedly, if you could just, like... If every meal I bought anywhere came with a little Pokemon toy, it would add so much joy to my life. Like, I'm trying to imagine how much joy that would add to my life, and I'm honestly kind of shocked at how much joy that would add to my life. That would be amazing. Okay. Why is Ryu looking so huggable looking? Because Ryu's adorable. Okay. You know what? I think that's a good stopping point for today. The next... Which one's Ryu? They are referring to the dragon. His name is Ryu. Just spelled differently. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Presumptively, I might be going to a family party in a couple of hours. We'll see how that plays out. But we did actually get some good stuff done today. We tested a good chunk of the new crafting logic. We actually made sure that all of the new Mimic recipes are working. I will finish the thorough test for all of the Beasthide level 2 stuff before next week. We have finished the next bits of story before we move on to the northern sections of the island. We've gotten a lot done today. Next time we are going to work on getting those skilled lays out. I will also have the Caveland finished, and I will have set up troops and bestiary stuff for all of the enemies that I built. So we will have monster encounters in the mountain, in the swamp, and in the splitting cave. So next week we are actually going to be focusing up here. And we're really going to start working hard on the northern half of the island, the Catfolk Village, and also doing some skill work. So I think that's all that we needed to cover for today. Um, I feel pretty damn good about that. The current daily series on the channel is alternating between Metroid Prime 4 and the Pokemon Legends ZA DLC. When one of those finishes up, I don't know which one will finish first, but when one of them finishes, it is going to start alternating with Nekopara Volume 3, and that's going to lead into next year. Ugh. Canon. The visual novel canon is going to be what I play for the Valentine's Day series come February. Banjo-Tooie will come at some point in the relatively near future. Joy, you can be here next week. Saturday is going to be more Nuzlocke. We've beat the Elite Four in Soul Silver, and we are now ready to go into Kanto. As far as I'm concerned, that run is a success, but we are not going to start Alpha Sapphire until we either win or lose that run. Well, in Kanto. Either we're going to beat Red or we're going to lose, and then we're going to move on to Alpha Sapphire. And Sunday next week, like usual, we'll be back here with more RPG Maker. So, thank you all so much for being here today. This project gives me so much joy. I love doing this so much. This whole thing has just been incredibly fun to work on and has made me so much better at RPG Maker. I love it. And I really appreciate that all of you really help enable me to have that fun and to keep improving. It means a lot. And it is time to make the sound to summon the end of the stream. Wow, 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 wow.